Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
It is time to get skinny. That's a good little segue. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but new year, new me, New Year's resolutions, all that shit. Everybody's going to try to lose weight this year, and what a better way to do it than just shucking those full bodies and getting skinny with Dive Bomb. You can just skip the gym and go skinny with Dive Bomb. How about that?
That's the best way to lose weight.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Yes, it is.
Lose weight.
Okay, January 2nd. My sound's funny or something.
I don't hear it.
I have a different sound in my headphones today. I got shit everywhere here.
There ain't no telling.
Back in the studio. It's 2023. I wrote 2022 on a check a minute ago. I'll get that done about June. I'll figure that shit out.
That's smart though.
Yep.
That's the way the Wolf of Wall Street he would string along lenders by writing the wrong date on there.
I've never seen that show.
That wasn't in the show. It was in the book.
Oh.
He wrote a couple books, and
Does his wife look like Margot Robbie?
yeah, she was hot.
Well, Margot Robbie is a hottie. So
I don't know about his first wife, but his second wife was definitely good looking.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room today.
The poor guy from Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a horrible deal.
Damar. I know his first name's Damar.
Is it Hamlin or Hamlin? Anyways, lots of prayers for his thing. It's a horrible deal.
What a deal.
And I can't believe the NFL didn't have a contingency plan.
What the fuck? Yeah, it is Hamlin, Damar Hamlin. What contingency could they possibly...
In case something like that happened. I can't believe a company like that big does not have it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I can't believe they don't have
I tell you what the plan
contingency plan on if something happened like that. Same as with this say an airplane crashes with the team on it. They have to have a contingency plan.
Yours has a different sound because those aren't your headphones. The damn grandkids.
Oh, it sounds so much better now.
Is that better?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Made that big of a difference?
Well, it's just a different sound.
Huh. I'll tell you what the contingency plan should be.
What is it?
Exactly what the NFL did last night.
No, but they should have done that.
Shut her
immediately.
down, and we're done.
Right. No, I'm not disagreeing on that. I'm not debating that they shouldn't have canceled the game. I'm not debating at all. I can't believe they didn't have a written code already. Someone says, "Oh, turn to page 1," because that should be a page 1 deal.
I'm sure this is just one of those things that, I mean, do we have a contingency plan that's ready to go if somebody has a heart attack in our field? No, we're just gonna figure it out by the seat of our pants.
You need to take off the B off of our company. Okay, let's say this. Let's say a team's flying in. We'll call it Albuquerque Aztecs. We'll make up a team. Somebody say that, and there's a plane crash and it kills the whole team.
Okay.
The NFL has a contingency plan to do a draft. They already have one.
No.
Yes, they do. It's been addressed already. Yes, it has.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, they did. They put it in after the Marshall incident in college years ago. They have a contingency plan so they don't shut a whole franchise down, where they do a supplemental draft to field a team so they can have the team play all year long. A team. You're scoffing at me. You do this shit all the time. But I'm telling you, they have a contingency plan in case something like that happens. They have to. But this deal last night has got such an effect on the playoffs that I don't know what the answer is going to be. They have to play the game.
Well, you said it earlier that Buffalo has flown home.
They have, and that surprised me because I figured they'd play the game in 2 days or something.
You can't play it in 2 days. You got to play it. It's Tuesday when we're recording this.
Today or tomorrow. Today or tomorrow had
today
to be
at the latest.
Well, you could have played Wednesday. They've done that before when the COVID stuff. They had some Wednesday night games.
No. I don't think so.
Yes,
I think
they did. During the COVID years, we had football on Wednesdays sometimes. You can look it up.
And then when are they going to prepare for next week? I don't know who the Bills and Bengals play next week, but it's a big game. Like the next 2 games are going, especially last night, it was going to shape the playoff picture for the AFC. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. Do you give them both a draw?
You can't do that because
why can't you?
Then
give both of them a draw.
Okay, they both have a tie.
Okay.
Then what happens? Then what happens with the? Is that fair to the team? The team that won, Buffalo, had a chance for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. No, they don't. If Kansas City wins out, Kansas City has it.
I'm looking up your thing here. This has happened. According to the plans, there would be an emergency conference of all teams' management, and an impromptu draft would take place to stock the
Hold on,
team
what'd you say?
that lost its players in the crash.
What'd you say? They're going to have an impromptu
draft.
What did I just say? And you said
that
no.
They would have a draft.
Yes, I told you.
But here's the thing with any law, it's retroactive. I'm sure after last night, there will be a plan in place for if somebody falls out on the field. But it took the Marshall crash for this to happen.
Right.
Had Marshall not ever done that, then we still probably wouldn't have a plan for if an entire team gets wiped out.
I'm going to come across as a senseless.
You're going to come across as Skip Bayless.
No, I'm not. No.
You mean walk out like
okay,
Shannon?
Okay, Shannon. No, but here's what I'm going to say now. I understood them pulling the teams off last night. Right. Why they don't play today, I have no idea. Because that player in there is a life or death deal. He's stable now.
Stable now.
Okay. It's no different than if we've had players have neck injuries and be paralyzed, and they either played the game still,
like Shazier,
and they kept playing the game.
Right.
They could have played it the next day. This kid is probably going to survive, thank God.
Yes.
They ought to be playing the football game tonight. They should have to.
I don't know about that. I don't know. This is why Roger Goodell, I don't envy his position. Most of the time, I'm like, you lucky bastard. You've got this golden egg that pretty well runs itself.
I could do his job today.
You know what he's going to do.
We're playing football tonight.
You know what his answer is going to be.
What do you think it's going to be?
We're playing. We're going to get this game in.
Well, they shouldn't have.
Roger Goodell. Here's
they have to.
Here's where people get their tits in a ringer. The NFL is a business.
A big business.
Roger Goodell is there to manage that business.
That's right.
And he's there to do what is best by that business.
And business is good.
And the NFLPA is there to do what is best for the players.
Yes.
That's why they clash all the time. Roger Goodell knows that if they ended in a draw, that's not gonna be fair for the Bengals, who could have had first seed. It's gonna screw up what the Chiefs have got going on. Like, it's gonna throw everything off. Roger Goodell is there to make sure that the plan is carried out. And unfortunately, when you run a business, you have to put feelings aside and do what is right by your brand. Now, I agree they should have shut the game down yesterday. End it, get everybody off the field. It's horrible what happened. I mean, players having to see their brother, have CPR administered to him, and then they shocked him on the field, which TikTok's blown up. A lot of cardiologists have been on TikTok today explaining what happened, and apparently that's the only way to get the heart back in rhythm is to shock them. So get everybody off the field, let them regroup, but the game has to be played.
That's right. It's a business, and this sounds very insensitive again. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. Those players make a lot of money. And the dangers of this sport is part of the reason. If it wasn't, every fat fucker in the world would be wanting to play in the NFL, and guys wouldn't work their butts or ass off to be there. It is a game, but it is a way to set you. It's a lottery winner. If you play pro football and you can last 3 or 4 years, you've hit the lottery in life.
You've got it.
And it's a horrible thing. I mean, we've got some friends that play pro football. It was sad to see if that was one of them there, and I could imagine his parents. It's a horrible deal. But the thing is, they
got her out of the stands to ride with them.
Yeah, but it is a business. Regardless of what it is a business. And you have got to do what's best for that business. There's nothing you can do for that player.
And I understand the player's not wanting to play.
Yes, I
get that.
I
get the human element of it all.
Yes, but you've got to play today.
And they're not going to.
No, I don't know when they're going to play, but they have to. This is going to have such bearing effects. But you cannot stop life when something happens. I mean, it's just that's horrible. Okay, let's say this happened. Let's say there's a car wreck and one of the players gets killed before the game. They're still going to play that game.
Right.
I mean, it's a horrible, horrible deal. And it's bad. And I don't have an exact system, but you've got to play the football game. They have to. Because of the bit, Michelle's like, well, they can just take off and play it again next week. You can't do that.
Right.
You cannot do that. I said, it's everything. Unfortunately, the NFL is set up on a timeline. Everything is based on the playoff round 1, round 2. They got TV contracts. They got everything. And you can't stop that over that. I mean, you just had them talk about it. They've got a contingency plan if a whole team crashed.
Right.
The only time they've ever canceled a game was during 9/11 that I can remember. I think they even played after Kennedy was assassinated. And they should have. But I think 9/11 is the only time they've ever took a week off of football.
Can't find anything. They still haven't released any news.
They're not going to tell you nothing. A lot of people thought it was because of the liquid being put into the body. I've got to watch what I say so they won't cut us off on that deal. And that's going to be that speculation is there because we have had a lot of young people.
No, this is a 1 in a million shot.
That may be. I don't know. You don't know that. Nobody knows. But I do know that
he gets a helmet, and the cardiologist on TikTok. You gotta get on TikTok, Jeff.
So the TikTok cardiologist is the one that we're going.
100%.
What about okay? Now hold on. I've also seen some videos that have been sent to me from people that say it's from the other thing.
Okay.
Do we just disregard that one?
Yes.
We don't know.
That's quacky stuff. If you look, T. Higgins' helmet, he got hit right here on the left side of his chest.
Mm-hmm.
His heart was at a specific. It only happens when your heart is in a certain spot in its rhythm, and it's 1 little millisecond, but it hit at that right time. And they said if you count, you have about 6 seconds from the time that this impact happens to the time that you pass out.
And that's when he stood up.
And if you clock everything from the time that T. Higgins' helmet hit his chest to the time that he stood up, it's about 6 seconds, and then he collapses.
What's the recovery rate on this? 100% if you get to the right help?
I mean, once they get once the TikTok cardiologist, once you get your heart back in rhythm, everything's good to go. But he did say that you have to shock them. That's the only way that you're going to save the life. And he said every minute that goes by without somebody shocking him, the likelihood that he will recover decreases by 10% per minute. And he was at 9 minutes. But they say with good CPR, you can prolong that 10 minutes a little bit. But it's not very long.
Now, we have a friend of ours that is a paramedic that used to work the Cowboy games. And he said the NFL would fly them to they had certain protocols they went through. I'm assuming the NFL has trained everybody at every stadium for this situation.
Probably so.
And if not, for sure now it will be.
100%.
I mean, we're talking how many football games have been there. So a player died in 1971. So 50 years ago.
He did die?
Yeah. A wide receiver for the Detroit Lions.
How did he die?
I don't have a clue. I mean, and here's at our house. I'm watching the game and I see this happen.
Chuck Hughes.
And I saw a player crying.
Right.
Watch it. He was frantic. And you could see from being at car wrecks and stuff, that look. And I said, oh shit, someone just died on the football field, Michelle. Michelle's like, you say that every time someone gets hit. Well, there's a difference between I say he got freaking killed just because he got hit hard. I don't actually mean it. I said, no, Michelle, I think they're doing CPR. They got an ambulance out here now. And she's like, what? And she came in there. So that's what,
Chuck Hughes was from Abilene, Texas. He's the only player to die on the football field. On October 24th, 1971, the Lions hosted... Oh, here, I can put it on the big screen. Lions hosted the Chicago Bears at Tiger Stadium late in the fourth quarter. Detroit trailing 28-23. The Lions were driving. Hughes, who entered the game as an injury replacement, caught a pass. 3 plays later, where's it at? Who saw him begin to convulsing on field. So, yeah, clutching his chest. It's got to be something similar if we can get to the nitty-gritty.
He might have just had a heart attack. I mean, things happen. There's no doubt about it. But there has been a ton of young people die in the world.
One of his coronary arteries was 75% blocked. So
yep, he just had a heart attack.
He was one of those. I mean, back in those days, they were not professional athletes. Like, I'm sure he had a side gig.
Ralph Neely, who played for the Cowboys in the 70s in the Super Bowl, told me one time we worked together and we were driving down the road, and he said, if you'd have seen me in a locker room in the Super Bowl and you'd have walked in there, you'd have seen me smoking a cigarette and drinking water at halftime.
So apparently he had gone to the hospital before chest pain.
They didn't know how to do all that shit back then, though.
His widow filed a $21.5 million malpractice lawsuit against the Henry Ford Hospital in 1972 for not diagnosing his condition when he was hospitalized after complaining of chest pains. They settled the lawsuit for an undisclosed amount of money. So
that's crazy. But things happen. This is the first time. But I said on this podcast 2 months ago that something's going to happen in the NFL this year because of the other stuff. And I hope it didn't have nothing to do with that. And I pray for that kid, and it's a horrible deal. I just hope we don't see more of this stuff happening. It's happening in all the other sports all over the world. Soccer players are going like crazy. And that's what's crazy. So, anyways, it's a bad deal. And no prayers to that kid's family. And I'm telling you, the sports world, you don't know how big the NFL is until something like this happens. And the sad thing is, and one of our own called me, what's the story on our fantasy football going to be? I have no idea yet.
Yeah.
And every fantasy commissioner in the country is going through this decision right now. And it's going to be, have you heard anything on any of that yet?
No, one of the big podcasts said out of respect to Damar, we're not going to release anything new. CBS, they released something, so I might check that out. But, I mean, there's got to be an answer. And I think the best answer might be yours if you can just freeze the scores like they are now, and then whoever's got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase.
If you have a player that played for Cincinnati and Buffalo, well, we're going to do in our league.
Lineup, just take what they get next week and add it to what you've already got.
Yep, we're going to take off last night's game, start at zeros for those games. Those players are going to play. So the guy that I'm not going to say his name because his wife might not know he's playing, but the other guy that's in our big baller league, in our other league here at the town league, that's what it's going to do. We're just going to play the stats unless they play the game over tonight or tomorrow. Which I'd think if they were going to do that, they would have made a decision already.
Buffalo flew home, so
it's not a very far flight.
Yeah,
probably not an hour and a half flight
by the time. Hey, speaking of football, have you watched Prime on? Not Prime. It's Coach Prime.
They say he had a heart attack in the game. Is now what they've just come out on ESPN and said.
Well, he went into cardiac arrest. It is technically a heart attack.
Telling you what they're saying now.
Where'd they say that?
On the deal of ESPN. And I am really proud of ESPN, and I don't say this very often because a woke network that's politically correct and worries about all that woke bullshit and pronouns. It's funny. It's kind of funny because the only time you hear anybody talking about policemen and God is when they're in trouble. And they talked a lot about God and prayers last night. So I was really kind of impressed. I told Michelle, I said, they've talked more about God and prayers in the last 30 minutes on ESPN they have in the last 20 years, I bet.
You know, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck were like, God, when are we getting off the air?
It was horrible. What are you going to talk? I mean, there's nothing to say.
There's only so many times that you can be like, I have no words for this. I've never seen this before. Thoughts and prayers are with Damar Hamlin.
And that's it.
I mean, that's all you can say.
It's a very weird silence.
And then I guess they kind of took some pressure off of them by cutting to Schefter and Booger.
Booger does good.
He could barely get through it though last night.
He did a good job though. He was very personable.
Well, and he kind of called the NFL out. He's like, I know how the NFL, I know their business model, and I know what Goodell is pushing for right now.
Yeah, Goodell would have made a big mistake. And
Booger said, like, the longer that they stay in the locker room, the less likelihood that they're going to get back on the field.
Conspiracy theory is the NFL wanted to play last night, and the players and coaches said no.
I could see that.
So the players said, no, we're not going to play. And if just one team says we're not going, what are you going to do? One team run out there and the other one sit around? They're not going to do that. They're brothers in arms on that deal. And this is what's
Zach
bad.
Taylor knew that too. Zach Taylor, I'm sure Zach Taylor, if that is true, which is a scary thing to say, but I'm sure Zach Taylor was like, look, Sean, whatever you want to do here, I'll back you. Like I'm not, because I'm sure if you look at that and one team doesn't leave the locker room, the other team does, that could be looked at as like a forfeit, couldn't it?
Yeah, they stuck together on this deal, but and they should have. And it's going to be it's going to be. I can't believe here it is now 11:30 in New York, and we know this young man's stable now that they haven't come out and said, hey, this is what we're going to do, because they have to do something.
Yeah, I mean, you'd figure.
I mean, they have to. They've got to do something that. And let's since we're talking a little bit of football here, I'm not going to talk fantasy and all this shit. I'm just going to talk. Did you see Kayvon Thibodeau from New York?
That was going to be my next topic.
Okay. What a dumbass.
Classless.
Looks horrible on his part.
Classless.
And even somebody showed it to him on the side.
Oh, really?
They pointed. Hey, this guy's sitting there doing a snow angel or something on a guy after he's freaking knocked out.
Yeah, it was bad.
Bad optics, especially after this shit happened.
Bad. But I was going to look at that. Like, yeah, because Foles, he's sitting over there just convulsing, and he's doing snow angels by him. Yeah, that's got to be a fine, right?
Yeah, it should be. Football is a emotional game, and it's a violent game.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't take a little bit to have a little bit of class. But we're also talking about people that every time someone gets a sack or a fumble now, they run in front of the camera all the way to the field. And I do not.
And that wasn't a big hit either.
No. And he don't know he's hurt right now. But somebody's like, well, this idiot here don't know either. And then someone should, like, one of his players should go up to him and say, listen, get the hell out of the way.
Fuck up. Sheesh. Scary deal.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to what I was talking about with Cameron. There's more of these than I ever remember. And I've watched football, for the last 10 years pretty religiously.
There's more what?
knockouts like that.
Oh, they've dead. You just didn't know. The guys were tougher back then.
I don't think that's something you can fake.
No, the guys were faster and bigger. That was not a huge hit.
No, but he got knocked out. He got KO'd on.
He got his ribs broke.
Who did? Foles?
Foles, yeah. He got broke ribs.
I thought he had he's not knocked out right there.
I think it's broke ribs.
I'm pretty sure he's knocked
Look
out.
Look it up.
I think he's convulsing.
I think his fucking ribs are broke.
I don't know. But
I think he has broke ribs.
Let me look.
Yeah, I don't think that's a concussion convulsion. I think those are.
Oh, I thought he got knocked out.
No, I think your bones are on your liver convulsion is what that is. Oof. Or your lungs or whatever.
Scary deal. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Foles had to be carted off. No shit. ESP or Sporting News. It doesn't say.
I think it was broke ribs is what I saw last night. I don't know. How about the Big Ten stinkeroos too?
I wish that Ohio State had a better kicker.
So you wanted Ohio State to win?
Yeah, I'm not a Georgia guy.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. I know Ben was excited, but
he was awful quiet until the end of the game.
It would have done my heart a little bit of good to see him sweat just a little bit more. That kick wasn't even close. And I mean,
no, he shanked it big time. And then did you see Skip Bayless is 2 for 2 on being a dumbass?
Oh,
did you see what what a knucklehead kick that was. That's stupid, you know. You talk about choking on the moment and blah, blah, blah. Somebody's like, it's a 20-year-old freaking kid coming from you who averaged 1 point a game your senior year in JV basketball. Don't tell us about sports, you know. But I'm somebody like Skip. There was a guy named Jim Everett that used to quarterback the Rams. He's from Purdue, and he quarterbacked the Rams. He was on Chris Rome's show one time, and he kept calling Jim Everett Chrissy Everett.
And Chrissy?
He kept calling him Chrissy. He goes, if you call me Chrissy one more time, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. And he called him Chrissy, and Jim Everett slapped the shit out of him on TV.
Really?
Yeah, you can probably pull it up. But he slaps the shit out of him. But you know what? If Skip Bayless, if someone whipped his ass one time, he quit doing that shit. I guess I could say that about us. We talk shit about somebody come in our podcast studio and whip our ass too, and you'd have it coming. But that 20-year-old kid is a 20-year-old kid, and he
didn't miss it on purpose.
No, fuck no. He kicked 48-yard earlier. If he was going to miss it on purpose, he probably would have got a little closer. I mean, it was a horrible kick, and I feel sorry.
It wasn't an easy kick either.
No,
what was it? It was
48 yards, 49 yards.
48. Ben probably knows. Ben, how far was it?
We just talk about you.
How far was that kick?
49 yards, and you were awful quiet there most of the second half. Not saying a word, but that kid missed the kick, and then Skip rips on him on Twitter, and I can't remember what it said, but he caught a lot of flack. You know, it's a 20-year-old kid and a crucial moment, and I feel sorry for that kid because the whole state of Ohio, that's their life. There's more Ohio State Buckeye fans than there are Cincinnati Bengal fans or Cleveland Brown fans. I'm promising you. How many guys from Ohio State you see? We've had a lot of Ohio hunters lately too, big groups of them, and every one of them almost was wearing Ohio. I've seen one guy wearing a Bengals hat this year.
We had a whole group.
But wearing Bengal stuff?
Yeah.
I didn't see but one guy wearing a hat. But you see Ohio State stuff all the time.
Well, you see Blake wearing his all the time. He is a huge.
Oh, yeah, because of his 15th cousin.
I'm going to have any sound here?
You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years. 2 years, actually, Chris. Well, hey, you know what? Let me say one thing. In that game, how many sacks did I have that we came back and won? How many sacks did you have? How many sacks? Let's see, but this was back in 1989. Okay, that was about you may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris. Well, let me tell you a little secret. That, you know, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time, I already did it twice. You call it one more time, we better take a station break. Well, it's a 5-minute segment, or a 5-segment show. We got a long way to go. Well, we do. We got a long way to go. We do. I'll get a couple segments out of you. Well, it's good to be here with you, though. Well, it's good to see you, too. You've been talking like this behind my back for a long time. But now I said it right here. Right. Exactly. Well, we got no problem with that. I think that you probably won't say it again. I bet I do. Okay. Chris?
Well, he didn't really beat the shit out of him very much, but he'd had enough of his shit.
Threw the table over. Why? What was the big deal about
He just kept calling him Chris. Chris Everett was a girl tennis player.
Oh.
And he was making fun of him by calling him Chrissy Everett all the time. And Jim Everett didn't like it. A Big Ten guy, Purdue.
Well, I can't say that I really blame him. I mean,
no, he warned him, but he put Rome in the spot because Rome didn't know if he should say it or not. He was like, I wonder if he's really going to do something.
I'm going to call this big motherfucker's bluff.
Anyways, the Big Ten. Michigan loses a heartbreaker to TCU. Great game.
Go Horned Frogs.
Yep. TCU, or then Georgia and Ohio State. Great game again. And Georgia wins. So the Big Ten's down 2 teams. Then Purdue plays LSU 63-7. What an ugly game. So, and then the best game of all is Tulane beating USC. Clear against the wall.
They did that at Jerry World. I threw it against the wall?
Yeah, it went all the way to the wall, so you can get it later.
They played that at Jerry World.
Yes. But anyways, so it's been a rough day for Penn State did beat Utah, I believe, but it's been a rough game for the Big Ten, I think. And TCU, I don't give them much of a chance against Georgia at all, but you never know. They're well coached. They got a lot of talent. I mean,
who do you think the hires up wanted to see? You think they wanted to see
Ohio State and Georgia?
1 and 3?
I think the Ohio State Georgia game is the one they would really love to have.
They couldn't have had that.
No. But I said you asked the higher ups would love to have had. That would have been it.
Oh.
Georgia, I don't think nobody wanted to. TCU's big because it brings Texas into play, but Texas is going to watch football anyways. I don't know that Detroit, Michigan's going to tune in to watch Georgia and TCU, and I don't know if anybody outside of Georgia and the SEC will watch it, and people in Texas will watch it, and your football fans will watch it. But I don't think it's got near the flair if it would have been Michigan and Georgia State would have had Michigan and Georgia because you'd had all the Big Ten people and the SEC people, and you still would have had the Texas people watch. I didn't expect TCU win. I did pick them to win, but I did not expect it.
You did pick them to win?
Yeah, and our pick 'em text, and I sure did.
Huh.
But that was more of a heart deal. I didn't think they'd have a chance.
I don't think anybody did.
They've got they play good defense, and they have a running back that's a potential first or second round draft pick. They got a wide receiver that's a first or second round pick, and I think their quarterback's an NFL quarterback. Maybe. I think
Duggan?
I think so. I think he's going to be someone's going to be like Brock Purdy, going to get drafted late.
Council Tucky?
Yep, I think that someone will take him in the 3rd or 4th round, and I think he's a legitimate NFL quarterback. Maybe he runs the ball well and he throws the ball. Poor man's Josh Allen. Maybe I'm not saying he's Josh Allen, but he was better in college than Josh Allen was.
No, that's true too.
So I mean, but I think he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of heart.
He does.
I'll tell you what
Plays hard.
Impresses me the most about him is he could have put in the transfer portal and went to some. He was a 3-year starter there and would have went somewhere, and he stuck it out and said, "I'm not a quitter." And was the second string quarterback starting the year out. So that says a lot about him, I think. This transfer portal is really a jacked up deal. I saw the kid from Texas that dropped 2 or 3 balls against their Washington, has transferred to USC the next day and probably got $1 million waiting on him to go to California to play football.
But I've been watching Coach Prime on Prime Video. It's going to be pretty good, I think. That motherfucker, he's a marketer. That's for sure. But I guess
it's easy for him to do it, though.
Why?
He can call Nike up and Phil Knight will kiss his ass. Or he can call up he can get open doors that a lot of people can't do.
Well, he went to Jackson State and they had nothing.
He's proven himself.
And then next year, they had all brand new facilities and a good team, and I mean he built something out of nothing.
And have you heard
I'm sure he leveraged his name and I'm sure he leveraged his influence to do it, but he did it.
Have you heard the black people that are griping about him now?
For going to Colorado?
Yes, and I don't understand that.
Why would you want to take a shot at a guy that just bettered himself?
Because
he ain't going to be at Colorado long. He'll be there 2 or 3 years, and that's it. And then he's going back to the
Florida
SEC.
State.
Well, Florida
State's not the SEC.
Well, he's going back to the Southeast.
That's his alma mater. So I don't know what he does, but that they gripe because first of all, an HBCU school can afford to pay a college coach. If everybody's in things to make money, and I don't know very many people that work for UNICEF, they're just doing shit for free. So the guy is about making some money. And so Colorado, he's probably making $6-7 million a year, I guess. I don't know how much money he's making there. But I promise you he wasn't making that much at Jackson State.
No.
And when he leaves Colorado, if he does good at Colorado, if he wins 10 games in Colorado, then his name will be up for some bigger jobs. But these schools, I don't understand what you think. I had a kid from A&M here the other day, and he was talking to me about that. He's like, yeah, but I don't know if we should keep Jimbo or not, and we spend all this money. Well, yeah, every school spends a lot of money. What makes you think that Texas A&M or Texas or Oklahoma deserve to be a top 5 program just because of who they are?
Right.
I mean, every school. What makes Oklahoma any different in Colorado?
Nothing.
Or UCLA or USC, nothing. Every one of those schools, there's 40 schools in our country that are paying to try to be a top 5 program.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's only one Alabama, you know, and they could fall from grace too. But right now they're not, and they've got a traction going. Georgia's the same way. But all them other schools want to be them guys, and they want to fire a coach if they don't win 14 games. Well, that's not realistic.
Not unless you get one of the big dogs like Saban.
That's not even guaranteed you're going to do that then.
No, I know.
If Urban Meyer went to school, he would automatically get recruits, and he's a piece of shit, and he would probably win football games.
Is he going to come back up?
No,
he's not coming back.
I don't think he'll ever coach again. I don't think he wants to be in the limelight anymore. He's got plenty of money.
Well, I wouldn't want to either.
But those guys, all these boosters and shit, think their alma mater deserves to be a top 5 school. Well, everybody's fighting for the same thing. Mm-hmm. But be realistic about it. Oklahoma State's the best job in the country. I'm telling you right now, Mike Gundy can win 8-9 games every year, makes a ton of money, and lives in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That's a pretty good life.
I'd say Texas Tech, but we're just happy with a shitty bowl game. You get us there against Ole Miss, we're fucking happy
right now. But he does that.
Tech knows it.
They ran off Mike Leach.
We know that's because he locked the wrong kid in the fucking shed.
But y'all still ran him off
because he locked the wrong kid in the shed. Had he not done that, he'd probably still be there.
If Nick Saban penis whipped a kid on the 50-yard line, he'd still have a job.
I don't know.
Well, today it wouldn't, but 20 years ago he would have, or 10 or 15 years ago. Anyways, but Tech is the same way. They fired Tommy Tuberville because he didn't win enough games. They
fired him because he was a piece of shit. He did not mesh with the culture. Jeff, there's a culture in Lubbock.
Okay, why'd y'all fire Cliff Kingsbury?
He moved on.
Yeah, y'all fired him.
Listen, Jeff.
But that's my point. Y'all are firing guys too. So don't say in Texas Tech's different. If Joey,
I don't think Cliff Kingsbury. I don't think he took us to all the bowls. Mike Gundy puts you in a bowl every year. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury was doing that the last couple of years.
I'm telling you, if Joey Florence, how many games did he win this year? 7 or 8?
Hold on, I'm stuck on Cliff Kingsbury now.
He was not very good at the end, but y'all fired him, and he was one of y'all's boys.
He was, Jeff. But listen,
so y'all are no different than everybody else.
I think that's why we had to. I think that's why we had to get rid of him. Send a shot across the bow.
Yeah, it's worked out real well for y'all. Y'all have a really good coach now, and I hope y'all can keep him.
I doubt we do.
I don't know. I think these guys have got to realize you get to these schools like Tech, and
he was sub 500 at Tech. Which, you know what? Kudos to Cliff Kingsbury.
He's horrible at coaching. He's a
marketer.
He's terrible,
and I think he's gotten by on. He needs to thank
his parents. He
needs to thank Sean McVay, and he needs to thank kind of that wave that
Kyle
went through.
Shanahan.
Yeah, that young, good-looking coach that kind of has this flashy offense, because that's the only reason. Yeah, sub 500 college coach became an unlikely NFL. Success story.
Former NFL coach after next week.
100%.
Matter of fact, next week 100%. This time he'll be unemployed.
And that's okay. Do
you think he'll get another job there?
Where?
In NFL?
No. I think he takes I think he goes to USC as the coordinator.
Works for Lincoln Riley?
Worked for Lincoln Riley. Because that was going to be the job before he took Arizona. He backed out.
But not for Lincoln Riley, for Steve Sarkisian.
Right, but he backed out of that. I think he gets another offensive coordinator job somewhere. I'm trying to find his bowl record, but I can't.
He's got enough money and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he just retires.
You think so?
And become he might be. I don't know if he'd be a good commentator or not.
Or however old he is.
I don't know.
40.
I don't know. He may not want the hustle and bustle being in college. College football is just not the same now with this transfer portal.
Do you think that because let's see here. Yeah, he lost. He went to the Holiday Bowl his first year. He won it. So that was 2013. And then 2015, he went to the Texas Bowl, lost it. And then 2017, he went to the Birmingham Bowl and lost it.
Well, boy, if you put him and Lincoln Riley together, that'd be like 0-9 in bowls.
He was 8-5 his first year, 4-8, 7-6, 5-7, 6-7, 5-7. So, not the best out there in Lubbock, Texas.
Well, he had many opportunities.
That has a pretty low bar. You get us to a bowl game every year, and we're pretty happy with it.
And they should be. That's what I'm saying. These schools that think,
right.
But see, like A&M, they think if they're not playing on January 1st or 2nd,
that it was a failure.
Yeah, and I'm a Texas guy, and by God, just going to bowl game, we should be happy because we got a whole lot more. We're more proud of ourselves than we should be. Texas and USC,
you got to check your expectations.
Texas and SC walk through the door, and they act like they're Alabama or Clemson or Georgia or something.
Well, Texas,
and they're not.
Texas is going to get that chance now because they're in the SEC. So maybe you got to walk the walk for a little bit, not just talk the talk. But anyway, Cliff Kingsbury, there's a video of him in Lubbock, and he is at the facility at 3:30 every morning. Works out at 4 o'clock, and then he gets ready for his day that way. I watched the last episode of Hard Knocks, same thing. 3:15, he's on the road, but at the facility by 3:30, working out at 4. Do you think that is, I would be interested to see like how Belichick starts his day. Like, are all of the NFL coaches starting their day at 4 or 5 in the morning?
I think all them guys are driven. They all have to be for that job, and they got to be a motivator. And I think,
but is that overkill?
Let's talk about the guy at Kansas City,
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid's not working out at 3:30 in the morning.
No, but I mean, he might be doing something else. He might be reading, or he might be meditating, or something.
He's up and about. I think people that are successful don't sleep all day. I think their mind can't rest. I think you get up at a certain time all the time. I think you get in a pattern of things, and regardless of what you do, as success you are, I think that but most successful people I know don't sleep in.
But it's just kind of that mentality of, we got to. I think there's room for let's work smarter, not harder.
I think that there is that deal.
Like, let's maximize. Let's not be there for fucking 20 hours a day. Let's just get our shit done in 9.
Is he married?
No.
He has no reason to be at home.
He did say that. He's like, I guess he did like a cribs tour. Very nice fucking pad, by the way. Holy cow. But there's Camelback Mountain is off in the distance, and he's like, I never see it. It's dark when I wake up, or it's dark when I leave, and it's dark when I get home.
Well, yeah, the guy.
This is probably the first or second time that I've seen this fucking mountain that is in the background of my bedroom.
He probably is just like most of those guys. He's self-motivated, and you have to be. But most successful people I know, until they get so much success, they can do what they want to. Get up. Our old president, he was one that was up early in the morning doing shit. It's because he can't sleep. His stuff going on in his mind.
He was taking medication to keep him awake.
Donald Trump?
Yeah. Adderall.
Well, then
big time.
Well, then that could have something to do with it then too.
Like the hard like Pez's, he was popping them.
But Cliff Kingsbury is not taking Adderall a bit.
That I mean, I don't know.
But a lot of Andy Reid, for example, I'll bet you Andy Reid is at the Chiefs facility by 6 a.m. every day.
I'm sure.
I bet they don't start football practice till 8.
Well, I bet you're probably right.
And
I bet it's probably even later than that. I bet you can get breakfast there and then hit the training room. I bet you don't hit the field until like 10:30 or 11.
Okay, but I bet he leaves his house at 5:30 every morning. They're playing at 6.
I would probably
beats traffic to get there.
And goes and does stuff, right.
And probably leaves there every day at 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
But a lot of people that live on the West Coast, they've talked about this. Like, they feel like they have to go at 3:15 because it's 5:15
in New York
or 6:15 in New York. So they feel like they're already kind of behind the 8 ball to the guys out there in New York.
Oh, no, I think and I think it'd be any profession. I think most of your very successful people.
So you would call Cliff Kingsbury very successful then?
A kid from fucking wherever he grew up, New Braunfels, Texas, has made a ton of money as a coach. Yeah, I don't think he's a very good head coach, but I think he's a very successful person.
But he's been successful in his field.
He doesn't go to bed at night worrying about if he's got money.
But I bet he goes to bed at night worried.
I bet he drives him crazy because he can't win.
He says that the reason that he does this 3:15 exercise is because he feels like he left a lot on the table as a player. So he feels like he didn't give everything that he had to being a player, which, I mean, you know, when you get to that level, you need a couple breaks. And
Tom Brady was in his way.
Tom Brady was in it. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. 2003 Patriots, 4-5. He was at the Saints. 2005, he was at the Broncos and the Jets. And then he went overseas, Cologne, Centurions, and then he went to Buffalo for a little hot minute, and then he was Montreal, and then Winnipeg.
Okay, but anyways, the guy got to play pro football.
He did.
A successful. If you got paid to play a sport, your life's been successful, you know. And you got to have a break, you know. Good breaks, bad breaks, they're breaks. Everybody's gonna get them. But he had a break and got to play football, and he worked hard. So, yeah, he's a very successful person. I'm not a big fan of his, but he's a very successful person. The best thing ever happened to him was Johnny Manziel and being at Texas A&M at the right time, probably.
Really?
Well, yeah, he was Manziel's offensive coordinator, and he rolled that into the Texas Tech job.
I thought he was at Houston also.
I don't have a clue. I don't know all his coaching deal, but he was at Did he coach under Bryles at Houston?
Estimated net worth is $15 million.
Very successful.
But I bet he's miserable.
Why do you think he's miserable? Because he don't have a wife and kids?
No, I think he's miserable because no matter what the bank account shows, he knows that he didn't go to the pinnacle of that profession.
Well, he's not. He's done coaching, I think, as a head coach.
I mean,
he may get a head coaching job in college again somewhere. That wouldn't surprise me, but he's not. There ain't no NFL to giving him a head job, I don't think.
He was co-offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at the University of Houston for 10 and 11.
Okay.
But, I mean, I don't know.
There's nothing to be ashamed of there. I can tell you right now, everybody that went into high school with him, he's the most successful guy in their class.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't know if the guy who invented the, heart pill or whatever it is, or whoever the hell that is, there's nobody in his class more successful than he is. He's had a great life.
43
years old.
Not banging a 22-year-old.
No wife.
Like guys like us think it is great, but I guarantee
no wife and kids. I feel sorry for him.
I guarantee he's miserable.
I think so. I mean, that's a miserable life. Not the life part of it, and that's not true because there's some old guy out there.
He might be happy.
That's right. But I think he's missed out on a lot of great things in life. I think Phillip Rivers has had a lot better life. He's got 15 kids.
I don't know about that. He also, Cliff Kingsbury had the benefit of Patty Mahomes at Texas Tech.
And couldn't win.
And didn't do much with him.
He's had, and a Heisman Trophy winner in college.
Johnny Manziel?
Yep. Didn't well. They won. They should have won it all. They had the best team in the country that year. They should have been the national champs. That was that fucked up playoff system.
Ooh, those look ratty. I need to buy another set of those.
I think your kids did that. We'll blame it on Blake. Let's talk about Brittney Griner. We have really not discussed any of this, and I've had so many people reach out to me about that.
About Brittney Griner?
My thoughts on Brittney Griner are: I think the United States of America made the worst trade other than the Denver Broncos for Russell Wilson. Horrible trade.
That guy's got a private office.
Who?
Russell Wilson at the facility.
Horrible.
And he's got multiple private parking spots with his name on it.
Horrible.
Shannon said the first thing you have to do if you're going to get that team back, get all that shit, take all that away from him.
He's right.
Because you'll never be one of the boys if they keep putting you on a pedestal like that.
And he's not. Patrick Mahomes at Kansas City could get by with that.
I don't even know that he could. I think you would start.
You start losing your friends.
Well, and now it's come out that Russell Wilson, he had people that had to get a hold of his people if you wanted to talk to him. Marshawn Lynch said that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Right after the Super Bowl, Marshawn, he's like, you want to talk to the guy? I got to go through your people to get a hold of you? He's like, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit.
They said he wasn't a good teammate in Seattle.
Nobody greeted him at the 50-yard line. But anyway, back to Brittney Griner. I don't think anybody's going to debate that
it's a horrible trade.
Bad.
But I think it was nice that our country got her back. I don't know much about. I've had some stories and I've read some stuff and I've talked to some people. The guy that's over there is not an angel. The military
the Marine?
guy. Yes, he was doing some things that were kind of fugazi. And I don't know the whole story on it, but we shouldn't be leaving anyone over there, but we shouldn't be opening up and trading an arms dealer for the worst kind of person we traded for to trade a basketball player. And if Brittney Griner wouldn't have been an athlete, she'd still be over there.
100%.
And so I have a real problem with that.
It was for pot, right?
Yeah, she had a vape with
THC shit in it.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's against the law over there. That's their law.
Right.
There's shit we do here that's not against the law somewhere else, but it's against the law here, You can honor kill your daughter in Saudi Arabia, but you can't do that shit here.
Good killing.
Good killing, yeah.
It's good killing.
As they call it.
They got it back. They got shit that backs it up.
Our laws are different than theirs, and you got to respect them laws when you go to a different country. And she didn't. And did I think it was really too stiff a penance? Yeah, but that's a Russian law. And there's other people in prison over there, but we don't go out of the way to get her, and that's what just pisses me off. We have let the politicians and the media run our world, and it's been going on for years. We're just too stupid to know about it. And we're finally. Are you reading up on that guy?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Was he an arms dealer or a spy or something? He was, but I don't think he was doing anything good for us either.
No, I think he was just kind of a. I think he was kind of a.
He was skimming money or something.
Freelancer. Yeah, he was writing. He had multiple identities, and he was writing bad checks, and I don't know.
I mean, he's not red,
he
white, and blue.
He wasn't over there
on vacation with his wife, and they put him in prison, and he was an ex-military. There was some more to it than that.
He was On December 28th, however, he was arrested by Russia's state security agency, which claimed that he had been caught spying in Moscow at the time. There were uncorroborated reports he had been caught receiving a digital storage device containing a list of intelligence officials. Maybe he's a fall guy for the United States. Maybe he was doing some good shit over there. We don't know. This is according to Yahoo, and we don't trust them at all.
No.
So maybe he was doing some stuff, gathering intel.
But we're making a mockery of this administration has just made a mockery of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and this whole thing with her it shouldn't have been a major thing. They should just let it work its course out. But if you're going to get her, if you're going to get her, get the other 15 people we got in the countries ever, I don't know how many people in Russian prisons are Americans. There's a ton of people over there that are Americans that done something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a hero. But they're going to make her the next George Floyd. Now she's disappeared so far, and that actually has surprised me. I think she'd be on The View by now.
No, I'm sure her publicist said lay low because you got half the country that's pissed off that you're back.
Did you see the Twitter deal? And I don't know if it's true. Supposedly that Kyler Murray did.
No,
he was thanking Larry Fitzgerald. Happy birthday, Larry Fitzgerald, one of my favorites. Blah blah blah. And it was a picture of Brittney Griner, and Larry Fitzgerald goes, "Well, thank you, Kay," but he goes, "I think that's Brittney Griner." I don't know if it's true or not, but I've seen it on 4 or 5 different things. But if it is, it's funny as hell because they do look a lot alike. Same hair, about the same size.
I don't know that it was true. I'm not getting anything. But Larry Fitzgerald, I can't find anything. It doesn't matter. But Brittney Griner, it's a travesty what they did. But I mean, and it was done by the same people that are going to lecture us about gun control. So
you're going to give a guns dealer back.
Give an arms dealer back. Now he's already said he's going to get involved in the Ukraine and all that going on over there. So,
but that is
he gets to go right back to work.
That's the biggest hoax played on us. I'm going to tell you what. In the last 25 years of my life, which is half of my life basically, and I'm sure before that there was same shit going on. We just didn't know it. The American people have been duped so bad just in the last 5 to 10 years on stuff. The whole COVID stuff, the election stuff, and now the freaking Ukraine stuff is the icing on the cake. It just never ends. He goes to Congress and asks for money, and they act like he's some kind of hero. Is there any time in the world there's been someone in the middle of a battle and they got time to go do talk shows and shit like that?
No.
I mean, never. And his net worth goes up and up and up and up, and it's just the same shit. And it's all the fucking politicians just keep feeding the monkey, and I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely just like everyone else. I want to see them audit our own fucking government where all of our money goes.
Well, that would expose too many people.
Yeah, well, yeah, on both sides. It's crooked as shit. Can you imagine?
Did you see where Fauci planned, or he said that there will be a pandemic that we're not prepared for?
Yes, because he was planning on it and going to make money off of it.
Boy, he did too.
How
2017, he said it.
If I told you 20 years ago, and I'd have said, listen, there's going to be a time in our life where we're going to arrest a guy for having sex with 12 and 13-year-old girls, and they're gonna bring them in, and they're gonna be paying money to this guy, and this guy's gonna be bringing them, flying them all over the country, and these young underage girls, and we're gonna arrest him, and we're gonna have all the evidence on him, and we're gonna put him in prison. And he's gonna kill himself.
Maximum security prison that's got cameras everywhere,
and then he's gonna kill himself, and all the cameras are gonna be off. Then we're going to arrest the lady that helped get all of them for him and put her in prison for 25 years, but we're not going to arrest one person that she was getting money from.
We're not going to tell you.
Yeah. So how is that the most, that right there, and our media don't ever, that should be every single day. Who is on Epstein's list? Who are the people? That's how powerful they are.
Mm-hmm.
They could do this all the time. And then you've got all the shit with the social media giants. If you talk about getting an injection in your arm to save your life, if you say anything negative about it, they take it out for disinformation. Mm-hmm. Now, you could talk shit about what they give you for diabetes? Insulin. You could talk shit about insulin. They don't do nothing to you.
Right.
A proven thing that works. But you can't say anything about it. And you tell me what in the world, and these people buy into this shit. I saw an NBA was flipping through the news last night after the football player collapsed, and there was an NBA player coach doing an interview wearing a fucking mask.
I saw somebody here today walking their dog wearing a mask.
What? These ass clowns are stupid. I mean,
it's not over.
God, if you get COVID, you get COVID. You give you some medicine, you go home for a week or so, and you're better. I mean, some people are going to die. Some people are going to die from the flu. Some people are going to die from the shingles. People die. But quit buying into their shit. But the deal on the Epstein deal just wears me out that there's nobody, and nobody questions that. Well, why'd we arrest her if was there any customers? I mean, who's more
just him.
Who's more guilty? The lady that's recruiting 14-year-old girls to have sex with grown men or women, because there's some women on that list too, or the adult that's having sex with the kids? Which one's? I mean,
I'd get both of them.
I would too, but who's worse?
But they're both pretty evil.
But why is she so evil that she's in? Is his a lesser crime?
I'm not disagreeing.
No, I know
that. It's not a lesser crime,
by
but
any
I
means.
can understand them going after her.
They should have went after her. They should put her. She should rot in prison for the rest of her life. There shouldn't be no 25 years out of the deal.
That's all they gave her?
I think she's got 25 years in prison.
Oh, wow.
But
she struck a right deal then.
But why has not one person come out on the other side? Not one.
Because the people that run the news agencies are on his list.
Yes, and the politicians and the celebrities and the media guys.
I mean, you don't have to look far to figure out why.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
we like to know why our former president flew on that plane 23 times?
I think we know why.
We all do. But the media doesn't want to know. Walter Cronkite, by God, he would have wanted to do it.
And then unless Walter was on the list, and then he just doesn't want to find out about it. That would be the only reason Walter.
Like Kevin Spacey, he's not interested in being on the list or knowing, because he's on the list and he's a shithead too.
There's a lot of people on the list.
There,
we'll never know. We'll never get the official list, and that's why we got the summer of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, because it took everybody's focus away. Did you see that they caught the suspected killer of the Idaho? You know what his first question was?
What?
Am I the only one that you've arrested?
So you think someone else is involved?
I don't know. He's a PhD candidate in criminology at the University of, I think, Washington State. That was his very first question to law enforcement. Am I the first person you've arrested?
Washington State?
Yeah. Evidently,
he's an East Coast kid, though, right?
Yeah, it's
Scranton
boy. Scranton Joe. Evidently, from what I understand, Washington State, wherever he's at school, and the Idaho school, just the river is all that separates
them. So he probably lives up here by Spokompton then.
I can look.
He probably goes to Washington State, which is in Pullman.
Unless it's one of those weird things like where the criminology school's at this different place. But the map that I saw, like, they're 15 minutes apart.
Well, I mean, they are bordering states, but that's the only big schools the only towns I can think of is Coeur d'Alene and Spokane. But I don't have all the answers there. I know one thing. I didn't know much about it. I have not kept up with this other than 4 kids got stabbed, which is a horrible deal, tragedy. And Ryan said one of the girls was a really attractive lady.
They were. I mean, none of them were.
But Shelby, my daughter-in-law, she was all into this. She was into all the TikToks, all the deal. She had a theory about how it all worked out. Well, she was obviously wrong if this is what happened, because she thought it was I forgot who she told me it was going to be. But I honestly, I don't pay much attention to that shit, just like I don't the Amber Heard and crap. I really have stepped away from the news since the election. I don't trust it.
Now, so he was in charge of, like, he was putting together a list.
Can you put that up there so I can see it?
Well, I'm trying to find just the map that shows where Moscow, Idaho is. I guess I could pull up a map. Yeah, WSU. I'm assuming that's Washington State University. Pullman.
Okay, that's okay.
But he was he's a criminology PhD candidate, and something happened to my camera. I'll be right back. Pause.
We got these good old March temperatures again.
Oh yeah, it feels like it's the last couple of days felt like spring. But anyway, so he's at Washington State, and he had questionnaires that he was going around asking, like, some of America's biggest killers. How did you feel when you left the night to go on your rampage? Like, what did you wear? And just
so he wanted the full effect of it.
Like a lot of weird questions. were on his questionnaire. But yeah, his first question to the police was, and he's
police officer at the school.
He's waived some arraignment rights. So basically he's going to...
Hold on, go back up a minute.
He's going to go back and I guess walk the investigators through the crime scene. But I think that's about his dad, isn't it?
Yeah, his comes from a broke family.
Cruel bully.
Didn't have any money. He was lost some weight. He was a security guard there too.
But they're not. I mean, they're good-looking girls.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, it's a horrible. They were not attractive. It's just a horrible deal. I mean, I don't understand. It takes. I understand some bitch snaps and kills his wife, or she kills him, or a boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand where people snap and have something happen to them. And I understand someone killing someone who's trying to hurt them. But I don't understand just randomly going to a house to kill somebody.
He did.
I mean, boy.
Same as Ted. I mean, I don't know that this is any worse than Ted Bundy, what Ted Bundy did. I mean, he would go in and rape people, and he did a whole sorority one night.
I just don't get it.
Took a log and bashed a girl's head in.
People are just cruel, and I don't understand the world we live in with the evil.
Nothing's new. Like I said,
it's been going on forever.
You had Ted Bundy in the 70s doing this shit.
No. I understand that. Here's the thing is, in the 70s, you can get by with shit because I don't know how they caught him. But I'm going to bet you geocache. Oh, was it? Okay, I figured it was going to be geocaching.
And I don't know how they did DNA because this was a party. It was a party house.
They might have had the weapon there. When you stab somebody, you cut yourself a lot too.
Maybe that's how
on bone and all kinds of stuff. When you stab something, you cut yourself a lot. That's a very violent way to kill somebody.
And I mean, he killed 4 people, so you got to assume that the knife handles. If he did it with the same
slick
weapon,
and wet, oily. I mean, it gets bloody and it's just a mess. But here's what I'm going to get at today. If you go on a crime spree, okay, and you're at that house, they can track whatever cell phones are in that. If your cell phone's on, they can track that phone in that spot, and they can go back to find out whose phone that is. And there's a way that they do that. So that's what I figured was going to happen is they were just going to fucking look for a phone. If there's a phone there, then they'll have that phone. So listen, if you're going to go killing somebody, get you what do you call that, drug dealer phone? A throwaway phone?
Yeah. Koberger is eager to be exonerated of these charges and look forward to resolving these matters as promptly as possible, the public defender says. So I don't know.
They don't arrest people like that walk very often. Because they don't arrest people until they got a case on them.
The FBI was in on this.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't fuck it all up.
Mm-hmm. One of the girls, she was moving to Texas. Like this was going to be one of her last nights in that house, and
that's a horrible.
Had all of her stuff packed up and was going to hit the road in the coming days. And
I want to know if he targeted them or if it was just random.
He had to have targeted them.
Could you imagine breaking into a house with a knife? Honestly, and that's what you're going to use to kill people. Because I don't know that I could get in somebody's door anyways. First of all. Second of all, I'd worry about somebody shooting my ass. Now, there's some college kids, but there's college kids got guns too.
Apparently, you can see everything that goes on in the house from like it's up on a hill. So I mean, it's pretty easy to stalk, I guess, is what a lot of people were saying. So like you can kind of track the movement and then just wait for the lights to go out and everybody's gonna be asleep. I mean, everybody had been out partying that night. Those two had been at a frat party. And then these two were last seen at a food truck at like 2 a.m. So
just nuts.
They've been out partying, and I guess he'd been waiting. Came in on the second floor, and I think these two were on the second floor, and then these two were on the third floor.
Every year, there's something that captivates the country. And it's probably not as much now because I think we've gotten numb to stuff because we've got so many screwed up things happen. Like the Helter Skelter killings were big, and that was a 2-summer deal probably.
Scared everybody.
And there was always, we had a local deal where I grew up at, but you have serial killers and all that stuff that just gets people's attention. And this stuff here, I didn't even pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it happened, but I didn't really get into all the.
And they said one girl, her injuries were way more significant than everybody else's.
And they think she was the main target.
She might have been the main target.
And that was that hot blonde, I think.
And one of them.
That's just horrible. Imagine your kid goes off to school, you go to bed at night, and you don't worry about your kid, and then some fuck shit like that does it. It just pisses me off. I don't get it. I keep saying that. I don't understand the evil that we have. And it's all the time. It's every day.
Mm-hmm.
I saw where Lori Lightfoot should get applauded. Chicago's had like 20 less murders than they did the year before. I think they still hit 700.
Well, you gotta, small improvements are the way to life.
And they'll reelect her. That's what's funny.
Normally,
I came back from the airport at Dallas last night, and I drove, and we were between the race Buc-ee's and the turnoff to get on 277 to go to Decatur. And the amount of homes they are building east or west of Buc-ee's, that whole area down through there,
right?
It's just crazy. All the people that keep moving to these big towns. And I know there's no jobs out here. I know that's got a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. When you don't have jobs, it's a problem. And I understand that. It's hard to make a living. But, man, get your kids out of those big areas. The kids at schools are just so different. I honestly, if I lived in a big city, I think my kids will go to private school.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's just such a horrible thing that they're exposed to. It just goes on and on and on, too. It's horrible. Everything from the drugs, the gangs. They got to have cops at school. What's wrong with our country?
Well,
you shouldn't have to have cops. What happened? I graduated in 1986. We didn't have a cop at our school. What happened to kids between 1986 and 2023?
Columbine.
Columbine happened, I think, after I was out of school, or it was after I got. I think it was in 2001 or something.
Right.
But what happened though? Why did
people figured out that they could get on the news? They're these insignificant people, and then they figured out a way that if they do these crazy, heinous things, that they can have their 15 minutes of fame, whether they're alive or dead. It doesn't matter, because they know that their name will live on. And now they go to the softest target that's available, and that is, unfortunately, our public schools.
But what happened to the parents that are raising these kids? Well, I'm just saying, we had insignificant people when I was in school. There's lots of them. Hell, I could have been one of them. I mean, you never know. But why? What happened that made these kids? What happened to the parents that noticed their kids fucked up? When do you notice your kid's got some problems where he's going to shoot somebody up? Is it the black fingernails and all the black shirt and clothes and stuff? Is it the fact that they don't? I mean, I don't understand what it is that makes these people school shooters. And I don't understand where the parenting, because kids haven't changed. Parents have changed, has made the kids change, but kids are kids.
If you listen to Dr. Peterson, it's the Cain and Abel story retold. That's all it is. People feel downtrodden, and they feel like this is their only way to make a splash. They feel like this is their only outlet. They go. That's why they kill innocent people. That's why Cain killed Abel. He was the best thing that Cain could see. And he figured the only way that he was going to get back at God is to kill something that was beautiful and pure.
But what happened to the parents?
Well,
I know you don't have the answer. This is a mom question. She asked me shit that there's not an answer to. But what has happened to our parenting in this world? Why is it okay? No, why can't we get on to kids anymore? Why, if I see a neighbor kid acting like an ass, can I not say, hey, grow the fuck up? Because if you do that, when I was a kid, if you done something stupid, and I'm gonna give you an example, stupid, water balloons at cars driving down the road.
Okay.
It's not that big a deal. It's dumb.
It pissed people off in the car, probably.
Of course, that's why you do it.
Right.
Okay, I've done that before, and I got my ass chewed out.
Okay.
By a neighbor lady. I was 11 years old.
Quit doing that shit, Jeff.
I'm going to tell your mom.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't scare me as much as her telling my dad.
Right.
And you know what my dad would have done? My dad would have got on. No, he would have got on my ass because the neighbor lady had to get on to me.
Mm-hmm.
Closed doors, he might have told my mom, Chris, it's not that big a damn deal. It's just a damn water balloon. But he wouldn't have told me that. He would have got on my ass. Today people don't say shit. They're afraid to.
Right.
Or if you do, then the parent gets mad.
It's their precious baby.
You know?
Can't yell at their precious.
The stupidest thing I ever did growing up, I never got in trouble for.
What?
Because I never got caught.
Oh, well.
When we were in high school, we thought it was real funny to drive around to the bad side of town and shoot windows out of cars with BB guns.
It's pretty funny.
At that time, it was funny as shit on rainy nights.
Right. I could see why. I could see the allure of it. But if you'd have gotten caught, then you got to take what's coming.
My dad would have beat my ass.
Really?
At 16 years old, yes, he would have. And he'd had every right to do it.
Right.
And he would have been really disappointed in me because I knew better. Hell yeah, I knew better. I know better now. I thought it was funny, you know? It was. I could always picture the people coming out of their cars and their side windows be shut. Oh yeah. Oh, but that was a horrible thing. I was raised better than that, but I'd done something stupid.
I tell you, I can tell you where we went wrong. I can tell you, we started letting the state raise our kids. We let the government do it.
I agree with you.
We have put them into these institutionalized schools, and we put them in there at 5 years old, and we don't get to see our kids again until they're 18. So basically, the state raises us.
See, we have sold our kids and our people out for money.
Well, it's just more convenient.
Do
I want to sit down and teach Reese arithmetics and all that other stuff? Fuck no. I don't want to do that. But that's what they did a long time ago. But it's easier now. I can send him off, and he's somebody else's problem.
You're blessed with a smart kid.
Well, I am.
I don't know about Jameson's going to be smart, but he's not in school yet. You three boys growing up were all smart. So we didn't have to worry about you being behind in school and stuff. But these parents today, like you said, are lazy. I worked with a guy in 19...
Well, they're lazy, and then they've got their own problems. I mean, think about this. What were we watching the other day? We didn't watch anything. When we went to Central Market, it was fucking packed. Day before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas. And I know it's not like that all the time, but
every time I go in there, it's beautiful.
Okay. Traffic was terrible. The grocery store was a nightmare. I mean, could you imagine being in that environment and that's where you are every single day of your life as an adult? I'd want to fucking hang myself. So parents have turned to medication because they're in these terrible environments of overcrowding and overpopulation, and you can't do anything in a hurry, and you can't do anything quickly and effective. You've got to deal with all these people that are bumping into you, and they're rude as fuck, and then they cut you off in traffic, and then you've just got all this fucking anger that's pent up all day long. So you turn to medication, and then they start giving you Xanax, and then your kid's a shithead, and then what you do is you just put an iPad in front of them, because by the end of the day, you don't want to hear your fucking kid talk. You just want them to sit in an iPad, sit in a nice little corner, and shut the fuck up until it's bedtime, until I put food in front of your face.
So
that is the life of so many Americans.
Who are you blaming that on?
Well, I'm not I don't know that there is a blame, but when you look out here, it's very difficult to make a living in a small environment, so people have to go where the jobs are. So I don't know that there is a blame. Maybe it's chasing the almighty dollar. Maybe it's chasing that extra $50K a year that you can get in big town Dallas that you can't get in Wichita Falls, or what's something small in Wichita Falls, like Graham maybe? Vernon? But you would have this better connection with your kid, and you wouldn't be in this pissed off mood every day because you had to sit an hour and a half in traffic going to work, and then 2 hours in traffic coming home from work. So now you get home at 6 o'clock at night, and your kid's a piece of shit.
I blame it on selfishness.
Because he hasn't seen you, or she hasn't seen you all day. So It's just this revolving door that we're not going to break out of anytime soon.
See, I blame it on selfish.
Who?
Parents. Parents are about me. I worked with a guy around 1988, and he married a lady that had a kid.
Okay.
And no, I lied. Him and his wife had gotten separated for a little bit, and they're back together now. But he told me one time, he said, he was griping about her something. I go, what's the problem? He goes, I tell you what the problem is. He goes, she wants to go party every night.
That's a problem.
Especially when she's single. He goes, and let me tell you, when we separated for a while, he said, this is what she would do. She would pick Junior up from Little League Baseball. She'd stop at McDonald's. She'd grab a hamburger and a Happy Meal. Hey, close that door. hamburger and a Happy Meal, take her to her mom's, drop him off, and she'd go out with her friends bar hopping.
Right.
Every night.
Yeah.
Now, they got back together, and they went to church, and they had family stuff because of him. She wanted to be 18 and fancy free still when she was 28 with kid.
Right.
And that's the modern day parent these days, is that, and we're all the same, you know. Luckily, when y'all were little, we didn't have all the electronic devices, or I probably would have been caught up in that same shit too. But coached kid baseball, we did stuff with y'all. When school was out, over school, we did stuff with y'all. And I want y'all to do that with your kids. But so many of these parents don't they don't want to sacrifice their time for their kids. Mm-hmm. You know, they take them to school at 7 o'clock in the morning. They drop them off. They have breakfast at school because, by God, they don't want to get up and cook breakfast for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Jessie cooks breakfast.
She does not.
But they'll drop them off at school because they're going to eat at school. They don't need to have it at home. We eat it here. Then you get to school, and they go to school till 3:30 or so, and then they come home and they stop at McDonald's, somewhere, and they grab them a snack. Kids don't ever come home to snack at the house. Or mom works till 5 o'clock. They go somewhere till 5 o'clock. She picks them up. She stops at McDonald's or somewhere. She don't cook meals. They don't have a sit-down meal ever. And they watch TV or they're on their iPads all day long. And there's no family time no more. And a lot of it is because of being selfish. And there's someone listening to this right now that's going to be like, well, fuck you, you son of a bitch. Well, it's true. A lot of y'all are selfish out there. You need to take time for your kids. You know, they're only going to be young for a little bit. But what you're raising is these people going around doing school shootings and shit. And it may not be your kid, and I hope it's not. It probably isn't going to be. But those kids that do that shit do not get raised in a family environment at all. Because we do not have the family nucleus.
Well, and moms have to work now.
They do.
They didn't have to do that 50 years ago.
Or they don't have to, and they may have to give up some other things.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you look at some of these mortgages and stuff in the big city, and I mean, if you're going to live in the big city,
hold on.
Unless you're making $500,000 to $750,000, I don't know that you can live in a big city and have any level of comfort.
Maybe you shouldn't live in a $500,000 house when you only could afford a $200,000 one.
But instead who wants to do that?
Hold on. Instead of living in South Lake Carroll,
keep up with the Joneses.
That's right. Instead of living in South Lake Carroll, go move to Decatur or somewhere. You might have to drive 30 minutes more to work, and your wife might not have to work. All I'm saying is, put your family as a priority. We don't do that nowadays enough. And we're all guilty of the same thing. I'm guilty of it still. You know, you are. But we need to make our kids a part of. You have kids. You know, they don't choose to get born. Give them the best life they can. And most people that listen to our stuff.
Okay, but what's the best life that you can give somebody?
Love.
I think that's all priorities. I think that's
feed them.
I think that is your version of it. To somebody that's caught on that treadmill, the best life that they can give them is for them to, make whatever certain amount of money, whether it be $500,000 or $100,000, but people are going to strive. People have different goals in mind. Maybe it's to treat them to whatever wish and whim that this kid has when he's 13 to 18 years old, and sending them off to a nice fancy private school or
I never thought I'd quote this.
What?
You seen Roscoe Jenkins? Welcome on Roscoe Jenkins.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence is a non-existent dad, basically.
Right. He's stuck on the treadmill.
But he takes him back to his parents,
right,
who's a family nucleus. His brother's the big black guy. I can't remember his name.
Cedric the Entertainer?
No.
Or was that the cousin?
Cedric, he's the cousin. That's a funny show, too. Clyde, the one that died, that played in the Green Mile.
Oh, Michael Clark Duncan.
That's his brother, Otis.
Yep.
And he's making fun of Otis because Otis is a sheriff and he played in football at Alabama and all this stuff. Well, anyways, he's talking about his kids. He goes, well, how come, I can't remember his name, Little Johnny. He goes, why? How come he don't know how to hit a baseball or how to, because you're busy, Well, he likes to play soccer. No, he would like to do anything you would take time to spend with him and do. And I believe that. And I believe so many dads don't do stuff. You got in the Suburban the other day to go scouting and your arm hurt because Jameson hit you twice in the elbow with the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jameson loved that.
Well, yeah.
How long a time did that take you to do that?
Not very long.
If everybody that's got little kids would take 30 minutes a day, read to them, watch a video or something that they like to do, take them out in the backyard, play catch with them, do something. That's all kids want. We've gotten so far away that because we're selfish. What we would rather do is give them an iPad and then us take our iPad and do our shit and they do their shit. Well, yeah, they're happy. Mm-hmm. They're happy as hell. But that same kid would love to spend time with his mom or his dad doing things. But as parents, we're the ones that's changed. It's not the kids. We've done a horrible job of parenting in the last 40 or 50 years in our country. I really believe that. And I think a lot of that done before was done because you didn't have nothing else to do.
It ain't going to get any better. I hate to tell you.
No, it's not going to.
Technology is going to get a whole lot easier to get a hold of, and we're just going to keep passing it down.
Did you know, me and Mom.
But like you said, during Christmas, like you played Santa, and one of the biggest wishes from all the kids was an iPhone or an iPad.
All of them wanted iPhone.
They wanted, I mean, that's not good.
Now, Santa did kind of do Eddie Blackburn shitty because his daughter wanted an iPhone, and he told her no, and I saw it the second time.
But these things are just going to continue to get cheaper. Used to, only the super rich had an iPhone or an iPad, but now, they've made it affordable for everybody. So
how the hell is it affordable? They're $1,000.
I don't know, Jeff, but everybody seems to have one.
Well, I agree with you on that. But
maybe that goes back to the priorities. Maybe you shouldn't prioritize the iPad if you're barely making ends meet. Spend that $1,000 somewhere else.
Well, I come across two things from playing Santa Claus. We got a lot of kids that need to lose weight.
But that goes back to people are too busy. People are too busy to cook anymore.
A lot of that. And we got a lot
or they don't want to.
A lot of single parent families. Noticed a lot of that, and I feel sorry for them kids in that. The kids just want to be loved, and they want someone to do stuff with them. And it's hard. And the single parent, whether it's a man or a woman, you work 8 or 10 hours a day. You got to provide for your family.
Yep.
And then you don't have time. And I understand that. But take 30 minutes and go read to your kid at night. Visit with them a little bit. Build a relationship.
Jeff, who wants to do that
I understand.
At the end of the day?
But that's what you're going to have to do if you have kids. Because if you don't, when they're 12 years old, they're not going to know you, and you're not going to know them, and you're just waiting for them to get out the door at 18 years old.
I think that's probably most parents. But you're
sad.
Caught but I don't know. I mean, there's times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, if these kids don't hush, like I just need some peace and quiet. And then when you get peace and quiet for a couple of days, like if they go see her sister or something, or there was one day, I can't remember what they were doing. Oh, they were maybe at the trampoline park. I can't remember. Anyway, they weren't home and the house was quiet. And I was like, well, this was good for about an hour, but now I'm ready for a little bit of action. So
your mom cried when she got home yesterday from taking pain to the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
house is quiet. I was like, that's great, isn't it? I was like, hell yeah. Got my TV back.
Right.
Got my chair back. It's wonderful.
And but there's a cost. I saw a very, it was a quote, and it said, I can pull it up right quick, actually, I think. It said, I can paraphrase. It said, when nobody is waking you up and nobody is waiting for you when you get home, do you call that freedom or do you call that loneliness?
Loneliness.
Everybody's different. But Cliff Kingsbury might call that freedom.
But the loneliness, there's a difference between freedom for a day and loneliness for life.
Right.
Christmas is a horrible time for a lot of people.
Yes.
They've lost loved ones.
It's a finger in the eye to a lot of people.
It is. People that have a big family, a house full. That's what I was thinking. We walked in and it was quiet at our house. It was nice. Well, we just had a wonderful family. We had everybody there all the time. It was great. It was a great 2 weeks. Well, for some people, they didn't have that 2 weeks.
Right.
They had nothing the whole time.
They just went back to work on the 27th.
And just get this over with. It's kind of like I am with weekends during the off season. I hate weekends.
Get it over with.
They're boring. Weekends are terrible to me. Unless we're going somewhere, I don't like weekends.
Right.
Because there's not, out here, weekends are busy. So when hunting season ends, I work Monday through Friday. On Saturday and Sunday, I don't ever come to the lodge. There ain't no reason to come to the lodge. I hate it. I don't have something to do.
Well, and that's another thing. Like hunting season, you get in the middle of it and you're like, fuck, I'm ready for this shit to be over with. I'm tired. I'm cranky. I'm tired of scouting. I'm tired of setting out decoys. I'm tired of sitting in A-frames. Tired of laying out. And then hunting season ends and you're left with February.
On February 3rd, I'm a bored sumbitch.
And then February, you're like, oh, fuck, what now?
Yeah.
Because you've just been used to going all the time and you were sick of going. And then now you're not going and you wish you were going again. Deion on Coach Prime that I'm watching right now, I wish I could get paid for that. But he said, I want you to be wherever your feet are. He said, I do not want home to interfere with work, and I don't want work to interfere with home. Wherever you are, that's where you need to be. If you're at home, be at home. If you're at work, be at work. And I think so many people are caught in this thing where they're just tomorrow. We're working, we're moving, we're shaking. And they don't appreciate where they are. And they don't appreciate the moment. And then it's gone. And then you're just left with this empty feeling of, well, what next? Whereas if they would have just taken a little step back and appreciated whatever they were doing, whether it was a good day or a bad day, and just appreciated where they were and just really took in the moment for just a second, And instead of worrying about, because I'm the worst about it, and I've said it on the podcast, like when I have a good hunt, my mind is not, oh, I had a great hunt. It is, oh, fuck, how am I going to do this again tomorrow? And I didn't enjoy what I did today. Well, that just ruined everything because you can't get the pass back, and tomorrow is going to play out however it's going to play out, but you're left with just this little bitty piece of time that you could have enjoyed it. And instead, you either look forward or backwards, and that does nobody any good. So be where your feet are. If you're at home, you're at home. If you're at work, be at work. If you're having a good day, great. The sun's shining on you. Enjoy it. And if you're having a bad day, well, learn from it. Move on. Tomorrow might be better. Be where your feet are.
Well, that's a good way to end this one. So we've got Logan and Rebel will be on with us for the next podcast.
Got a lot of bourbon to get through over here.
Yeah, y'all sure do.
Yep.
Boy. Glad I'm not in that deal.
They'll appreciate it.
Oh, they will love it. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful 2023.
Bigger and better, baby.
See where the lottery's almost $1 billion again?
I'm not partaking.
That last one cost me $1,000.
Yeah, it costs. I don't.
Every week
gamble.
I'd buy it and gamble.
You have to
buy it and buy it and buy it, and then boom, nothing.
I don't think I'm gonna partake in this one though. Just pray that I'm in the good fortune of whoever wins it around here.
Well, since I haven't bought a ticket, you're relying.
It's not going to be us.
You're relying on Tony probably. Tony would share it. The best thing happened. Tony win that thing for us all. He could pay taxes on it, and we could reap the rewards.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
All right,
they're about to do lunch.
Bye,
y'all. Everybody.
God bless y'all. Bye.
Go check out our sponsors. Listen, go check out Pacific Calls, Gundog Outdoors. Take care of that four-legged hunting buddy of yours. Get the field trauma kit or the quick release system. Shin Gear Waders. They are not just a wader company anymore. Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Hunt Proof app. Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells, Mossberg, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, and Double T British Kennels.